What's up, world? Welcome back to the Millennial Outliers podcast. Feels like it's been a little while, but we are back in the booth. I'm your host, Justin Deal, with my co-host, Tyler Ardron. What's up, big dog?
Yo, what's up?
It's summer, brother. A little tanner, feeling good.
You got a little color there.
Yeah, a little bit, baking out there.
It's all that
golf outings. You know it. So actually, we have a special treat for you guys today. So I don't even think Tyler realizes this. When we started our podcast, I looked up some stats. So podcasts on average, 90% of people stop doing them after the second episode. The next 90% that are left stop doing it after the 20th episode. And I text him, cheers to 21 plus. Today is our 21st episode.
Oh, let's go, dude. You held that from me, huh?
Held that, yeah.
You're waiting.
I figured you didn't know, so I wanted to spring that on you today.
There we go.
And
making history, baby.
Our guest today has been in business for 21 years.
Whoa.
Put that all together. That's sometimes how the Lord works, right? So it's my pleasure to introduce a great entrepreneur that I didn't know for a while. I had heard his name constantly. We had done some work in the past. And I'd say over the last probably 18 months, been seeing him at a lot of different events, started following him, really built a lot of respect for what he's built. The family man that he is, the business owner that he is. And we just got to get him some cool shoes outside of that, but he checks every other box. But it's my pleasure to introduce Anthony Botte, owner of AM Botte Mechanical, HVAC, plumbing, and probably more, we'll see.
Yeah, definitely more. And to be clear, I'm the only one wearing work boots in this room.
That's facts. That is a fact.
Justin, do you even own work boots?
Do Tim's count? I do have a couple pairs of Tim's.
Nah, they don't count. I don't either, anymore. So I'm not hating. But
I was just saying. They're always nice boots that you have on. Yeah. You're always Dak, who's always got a really nice Maroni custom. Shout out to Dan, suit or jacket on. They'll have the nice button up, some pants, and then it's just
pair of work boots.
They're the work boots. I'm like, hey, we gotta get you really cool shoes to match these cool outfits you got on.
It's part of who I am, though, right?
Nah, so
you always have shoes that match your outfit, and to me, it's all about keeping them work boots on. That's what I do. That's what got me where I'm at. So I like that you noticed that I do that every time. So
absolutely,
it works out.
So you actually do that like thoughtfully?
I do. I have different colored boots,
cool.
And they're all high end work boots. And I buy new boots. I wear them. When they get dirty, they actually become work boots.
Ah, there you go.
I definitely. He does great with the style overall. The buttons are always matching. He's very good with his colors as well. I just want to see him in J's. I have a bias for J's. I want to see it in a pair.
We'll get him some Tims.
Yeah.
Nah.
But
he's a nah.
but let's jump in. And so, as I said, I haven't known you for a while, but I've been very intrigued by. I really enjoy watching the things you put out there, and anytime we've been able to kind of chat, or anytime we get together. But let's talk about. I always enjoy the beginning, right? So take me back. Where'd you grow up? What was your childhood like? What was your relationship with your parents? And did any of that parlay into who you are now?
Sure. So I don't know if you know this. I grew up about 3 or 4 blocks from your office in Belmar.
Oh, I did not.
So I was born and raised not born in Belmar, but I was raised in Belmar. My biological father had passed away before I was born. And my mom remarried probably the greatest guy anybody could ask for. And, my parents were a huge part in me growing up, right? Very, let me do enough, but were, strict enough to keep me in line. Always gave me enough rope to get in trouble, as they say. And so growing up in Belmar, we just a blue collar town. My dad was a restaurant owner. He owns a pizza shop, still does to today. And I grew up watching him work and getting up every day and doing what I have to do. And he had, employees that depended on him. And as a young child, I would go to work with him, and I would earn money. I'd work, 8 or 9 hours and make like $10. All the pizza I could eat though. And, I kind of just took that and I kept going with it, knowing that I watched my dad work for himself and be successful and happy. And I knew I was going to go in that direction of some manner. I didn't really know where yet. I was always riding bikes and go-karts and dirt bikes and all that stuff. So I always worked on stuff. So I kind of naturally went down that path.
Yeah. Now, were you an athlete as well, or you were more like the gearhead, like you said, messing with you like motorized things?
Yeah, I was never really a great athlete. I did some sports as a kid, but I was, always never a great athlete. So I was more on the car side, things of that nature. So
awesome. Now, what was the pizza shop that your father has?
So today he owns Santini's in Sewell.
Oh, okay.
It's right on Woodbury Glassboro Road. Nice place. He's been there, I guess, for 20 years now. So he's been there for a while.
Now, what it was like, obviously, as you said, you kind of were tinkering around with things, so it makes sense that you use your hands every day and create a business on it. But was that something like you always kind of knew you wanted to do? Did you want to be a mechanic, or did you think, hey, I'm going to own a pizza shop too, kind of being in that lifestyle?
So I definitely didn't want to be a car mechanic. I always thought I'd be, quote, as a kid, a builder, right? I'd build something. I didn't really know as a young kid. But working and watching my dad and not really knowing, was in the pizza shop young with him, working in the back and cooking. I mean, I could go in today and fill in if he needed me to. Obviously I delivered pizza when I got my license. I delivered pizza for 3 or 4 years, made some really good money doing that. But I never really had the passion to be in the food business. I also watched my dad work 7 days a week, open the close. I mean, it was it was a great work ethic, but it was definitely a hard life. For sure. Yeah.
It definitely earned every dollar. Yeah. No automation really back. It was all him.
Nope. It was all him. Yeah. It was all him. So it was all, people came in and they wanted to see the guy at the counter and talk to him. That's what they wanted. If he wasn't there, people wouldn't order. Yeah. So that's just the way it was. Yeah. So. Now,
did you go to school for like engineering, for anything along those lines? How did A.M. Botte Mechanical even come to be?
Yeah. So I was a senior in high school. I was in 8th grade. And I was going in the freshman year of high school, and I was, bored, right? Summertime is a week in the summer. And I was sitting on my front step with nothing to do. And I watched the guy across the street trying to carry a heater in a house by himself. I was bored. So I walked over, I figured I'd give him a hand. And he said to me, hey, you want to work the day with me? I'll give you $50. Yeah, man. So definitely. So I worked the day got over, and he came over and talked to my mom and said, hey, can you work with me for the summer? I said, sure. So he gave me $50 a day, picked me up and took me home and bought me lunch. I was 14 years old. And, 29 years ago, that was a lot of money.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I ended up working with him that whole summer, ended up doing, heating, air conditioning, some electrical, some plumbing work, whatever was involved. And I just loved it. I just absolutely fell in love with it. And I ended up working with, his name was Charlie. I ended up working with him for about 4 years. Man, 4 or 5 years, yeah.
What an awesome mentor. That's definitely like a really cool story. It's one of those two you realize today that probably wouldn't work out as well, right? With just like modern society, like some random dude just like getting a 14-year-old to start working with them. Parents today would be like, whoa, what is
100%.
Yeah. And we still talk today. Still, I'm still friends with him. He stops in the office and we see each other every once in a while. And obviously with Facebook, it's even easier to be friends. But
absolutely. Yeah,
sure. We still keep in touch, which is nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So did you join like an apprenticeship program from there? Did you then go to schooling, or you just?
So what happened was I ended up going to Lincoln Tech in Pennsauken.
Okay.
I was awarded a scholarship there. So I ended up going there doing my, I guess it was 18 months at night while I was working during the day. And graduated from there and just kind of went out on my career, started working. It was a little hairy. I mean, in the beginning, I was going to high school during the day. I was on a work release program in senior, where you go out and co-op. And I'd work doing heating and air conditioning, and then I was going to trade school at night. So within about a year and a couple months of graduating high school, I had a trade school degree as well. So here I am, 20 years old. And I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. So, and I, my motto is just keep working, and it'll, something will pan out. So that's what we kept doing.
Man, there's something to be said about that. So you're a senior in high school at that point, where most people are worried about chasing girls and weekends down the shore,
or where they're going to go to college.
Yeah, and I don't know if everybody caught that, how many things he was doing within a single day. It sounded like an entrepreneur schedule at 18.
It definitely was. I can tell you, waking up, going to school, going to work, coming home, going to school, you would just come in the house, sit down on the couch, fall asleep, wake up and do it again. And I know everybody, sees these, sayings on social media, give up a few years, to enjoy the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And it was about 10 years I had to give up, but now it's got me to where I'm at, that it's completely paying off and worth every day of it.
Yeah. So speak a little more, or go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, during the time it was, rough, I'm sure.
It was definitely rough. I mean, I had friends that were doing a lot of things that, I didn't do. I look back though, and it wasn't a whole lot, I mean, I didn't really miss on a whole lot of things.
Right.
I still have all the friends, and I love all the friendships that I made and still have. but I much rather the things that I could do now with my wife and kids
Yeah.
that
Because
are
you did
limitless, as opposed to, hey, we're gonna have a hotel party.
Right.
How many of them do you go to?
Right.
So
Or and you even remember.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like-
exactly. So I mean, and I did enough stuff to say I didn't miss my 20s or my my
Right.
late teens, but I didn't do the same thing every weekend, right? If I did it once, I'm like, okay, I don't need to do that again,
Yeah.
and I kind of moved on. So
It's a really interesting point because I feel like a lot of times people ask, it's always a question of like, is it a sacrifice or is it an investment? And I think you just very well illustrated that you don't really miss out on anything. And I think it's only a sacrifice if you're giving something up. But if you kind of like, hey, I did that, not really my scene anyway, I'm going to just keep my nose down, grind, and do these things. That's led to now. I mean, are you 40 yet?
I'm 43.
43. All right. And then how old are your boys? You have 2 boys?
So my oldest is 14 and my youngest is 12.
Okay.
Actually, my oldest today was his first day at work.
Nice.
So he's gonna work. He's working this summer, and we put him on the books. And today was his first day. He showed up, and that's why when we're done here, I have to pick him up from a job site.
I love
that's
that.
awesome.
My
So
guy's going to be sleeping well now.
So
huh?
that was kind of all last minute to today, but
Yeah.
he was super excited. He woke up with me at 4:30 this morning, and he was in
Love
the
it.
office with me by 5:45, and out on the road by 6:15. So he's definitely got the same aptitude that I had. I just hope that he could pick up the same work ethic. He's, kids today are a little
And not as driven.
little different,
Yeah.
but
A lot of
he's-
distractions for him, to be fair. It's tough for them to
it is.
realize what
Yeah.
they want.
and we didn't have the phones and all the
Mhm.
social media and stuff like that, so that's a little bit, but he'll definitely, I think he'll pick it up. And my youngest is right behind him. He's very eager and he wants to work and do things. So I think I'm going to have two nice productive people. So
Yeah, that's the point of being a parent, right?
100%.
But that just shows the investment, though. That here you are at 43, 14-year-old and 12-year-old. How many of your friends get to do the things with their kids and be as present as you do? Have built that example for them where they want to actually hang out with you and make money with you. But we'll jump into one of your favorite passions outside of entrepreneurship and your family of boating.
oh yeah,
And it seems like you guys spend 48, 30, however many hours you can on the boat on the weekends. But again, I always see in your pictures, it's the 4 of you guys. You're on the boat, the 4 of you guys at a sandbar. You got all these cool contraptions that are floating with the drinks and stuff. And
yeah. I mean,
you guys are enjoying life.
the boating is just where it's at. I mean, in the every day in the summer that we could be out on the boat, we want to be out on the boat. I mean, just to be with our friends, all the new friends we made, and just as a family, we can all do it. It gets it for all of us, right? So my wife can be in the water and suntan. I can, play with, tinker with my toy and have the boat, and my kid gets to drive, and my youngest can do whatever. He kind of steps in and does a little bit of all of it. And we all get to kind of take a little bit of what we love doing, and we get to incorporate it together, as opposed to like just going and doing something that
Separate
I
stuff.
enjoy or they enjoy or something. And it is nice that we could do it and be all together.
Yeah. Now, I know we just kind of gave you guys the highlight reel. There was social media for you, right? There's what Anthony has today. But we were talking earlier. So the first 10 years that you were in business,
Yeah.
you were actually working another job to help support, obviously, because we still have finances and responsibilities and overhead and things that we have to take care of. So until the one side of the business is profitable to completely take care of benefits and the big
Yep.
picture. So
Yep.
talk about that, because
So
you weren't rich overnight. Didn't just happen, right?
It definitely wasn't overnight. So it's actually a pretty good story. So as I started doing HVAC and getting a little better, right? Everybody in the trades loves doing side work. They can make money. That's the big advantage of being in the trades. You could do side work. Well, I also wanted to be responsible. So I said, I'm going to start a business so I can get insurance, right? I just wanted insurance to do side work. And before I knew it, so many people were calling me, and there was so much work that I said, okay, well, I have this business and I'm working for somebody. I think I should pursue, going out on my own. And it took me about 10 years to do that. I was working 7 days a week. I was working, 40, 50 hours a week for somebody at a company. I was traveling for them a lot. They treated me very well. It was a very great company. I can't say a bad thing about them today. But at the end, I was not really doing what I wanted to do, which was own a business. And I just remember working and working and working, and I'm having my kids, and I had this epiphany that I had my oldest son and my wife just had him, and I was in a hotel room in Lancaster doing a job. My wife was driving out with my son. And I just said, this isn't how I want to raise my kids. This isn't like, my dad worked 7 days a week to provide for the family. I felt like at that moment I had a choice. And I thought about it, worked, it took maybe another year or two of working. And I remember going to my wife. I said, I think I'm going to quit my job and go out on my own. And she just looked at me and she was just like, she goes, yeah, I think you should do that. It's a great idea. And, you know, I let that sink in a little bit. And I'm just thinking to myself, I don't think she understands the magnitude of what that means.
Mm-hmm.
We had a nice life. We had a nice house. We had nice cars. We were living the American dream, really, to be honest. And I had to sit her down and I had to tell her, I said, look, if we do this, we're all in, not just me, you, everything we own. We have 2 kids, or we have a kid and I think she was pregnant. And, I kind of explained to her, we could lose everything, right? We could lose the house. I got to put everything on the line, sell everything, put it all on the line. And she just said to me, you got to do this. You never let me down. Go for it. That was all I needed to hear. Took me about 6 or 8 months, maybe something like that. If it wasn't nailed down, I sold it. If I didn't own it, I got rid of it. Bought a truck, bought a work van, paid cash for it, and put my 2 weeks notice in.
Man,
wow,
that's powerful.
Yeah, it is. Sure.
And one thing,
got goosebumps.
And that was it, man. I didn't want any loans. I didn't want anything like that, and that's
Sold
what I
off.
did. And I remember, like, the first 3 days, the phone didn't ring.
Oh shit. Yeah, that's scary, right?
I was like, oh man.
Yeah.
So, but that was kind of, that was the start. And that was 10 years into owning my business, of basically working 2 jobs that, I was at a crossroads. I could have either just stayed where I was at, or I could have went on my own. And at that time, I was 30 years old. And I just said, that's it. If I don't do it now, it won't happen in 5 years or 10 years. It has to be now. And if I fail, I'd be young enough to start back over. I could go get a job anywhere, right? You can't take the skill away.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was my mindset when I went into it.
Love that, dude.
Yeah.
And one thing I want to make sure that people realize too, because I feel like we touch on this, but that's, again, I feel like I keep using this word, but a great illustration of it is how important it is to choose the right partner in life, right? Like, that's a lot of wives could have given you all the negative reasons why you shouldn't, why you can't, why you won't, and why you didn't. And your wife had, full confidence in you with kind of your back against the wall. And like you said, you already had a good life. So it's really something she knew inside of you. You weren't going to be fully fulfilled if you didn't chase it. And nothing hurts more than regrets, right?
Yeah. And we've been married, it'll be 19 years this year.
Congrats,
and
man.
We were together 5 years prior to that. So she even knew me when I was, we talked about like missing out on things when we were younger. Well, I didn't miss out. I didn't miss out on meeting my wife, right? I was still, because I didn't meet her in high school. I met her after high school.
Yeah.
And, I still didn't give that up. I had all of that. I had all them experiences with her. And, she went to college. I didn't. So I still had the college parties with her and stuff. So that was really cool. But yeah, I mean, she was with me from the beginning, and she knew how hard I worked and how, if I worked that hard for somebody else, that she knew I would work harder for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So she had no doubt, which was nice. But I needed to hear that. I don't think
The reassurance.
Yeah, I don't think if she was as confident in me at that moment, if maybe the outcome would have been the same. But it definitely was a big part.
Now, so kind of like full circle with that. So you've shared, and I'm sure people know if they follow you on social, that you've recently been able to retire your wife officially from the teaching profession. So, being able to do that, that's like, you always hear the NFL guys, like, I just want to buy my mama a crib, right? Like, so what was that like? Like, that's a really cool moment, to say the least.
It's really cool. And, my wife, she has an immense passion for teaching, and she loves everything about the kids. And I mean, I could tell you that we can't go anywhere without her running into a student or a parent telling her how much she loves her, how much that they love her and all. And I even say to people, you can even show the dedication that she had, because even though she was able to retire this year, and she retired, she left over 50 PTO days on the table.
Wow.
Because she wouldn't use them for the rest of the year, because she wouldn't do that to the kids.
Yeah.
The kids deserved their education with her, and she was willing to walk away from the PTO days instead of just taking them off. Which also says a whole lot about how much she loved what she did. Yeah. But yeah, now she's retired. Her last day was almost about a week and a half ago when school got out. Yeah. And she was really, really, really excited. I think she was sad, but she's definitely excited. And now she's going to come on board and work with us.
So I was going to say, I assume she's going to go into business development.
Yeah.
No offense, when I see her in the room with you, she's typically working it. Right?
Yeah, she's
definitely got an energy to her and a light.
I'll tell you, man, she can go into a room of people and she could spark up a conversation. She definitely makes herself known. And she is already, she kind of dabbled with the business development last year for us. Mm-hmm. I said, look, if you can do business development through the summer and you could do well at it, we could talk about you retiring next year. She got done school and I sent her to her first event. She's like, okay, what do I do? And I go, well, you got to figure it out. And man, did she figure it out. And I knew, so we did it's actually coming up this week, which is the Gloucester County Barbecue. If anybody wants to go, the Gloucester County Chamber of Commerce. We did it last year, the barbecue, and we were walking up and we walked into this group. There was, I don't know, maybe 15 or 18 people. And I didn't know not one of them. And she introduced me. Oh, this is my husband, Anthony. He owns A.M. Botte. And I could just see the excitement and I could just feel that she was so proud to be in that moment. And I just knew right then and there that she would be perfect for the job.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
That was it. I said to her, well, I said, you can retire now. So
love that.
That's where we're at.
Man, win-win.
And actually that Thursday this week is her first event being, with us full time.
Fully in.
Yep. Be her first full event. Yep.
I know you're going to kill it, Jess, calling it now.
Yeah, I have no doubt. No doubt at all.
Though.
She earned it.
Now, so another thing that we typically always touch on with a lot of folks, college. So you have two boys, 14 and 12. That's coming around the corner.
Yeah.
So my gut and knee-jerk reaction for you would be you're going to be an advocate of trade school. But what do you feel like with if your 12-year-old goes, hey, Dad, I want to go to school for business, but I want to go to Penn State.
So
what's that combo look like?
I'm going to sit here and tell you I would support them in whatever they want to do, but I need a plan. They have to tell me what their plan is. I would not be opposed to either one of my kids wanting to go to college, depending on what their dream was, like what their goal. Like they're both also very young for me just to assume they want to do what I want to do.
Sure.
Right. They want to do what I do now because that's really all they know.
Yeah.
This might be the only summer your 14-year-old needs, right? He might know.
That's
what I'm saying.
And that's the truth. He may say, just the way I worked with my dad, it just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And I'm completely fine with that because, the old saying, right? It's so cliche. I don't work a day in my life.
Yeah.
I love what I do. I love what I do. So if they want to go that route, that's fine. And it ain't about the money because I didn't go to college. But I can tell you right now, one of my sayings is, I didn't go to college, but I sure as hell paid for my education.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I paid for it in real world experience with mistakes, things I messed up on, things that cost me a ton of money. I mean, you know what you do. You make a mistake in something, it could be very costly. And I don't know if I would have learned them mistakes in school, but I hear people all the time, oh, well, you didn't have any student loans. I'm like, no, I paid with real money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah, I definitely still had it. So, but I mean, if they want to do it, I don't know if they will. My youngest wants to go to GCIT.
Okay.
He wants to go for electrical. So he doesn't even want to do HVAC. He wants to go for electrical. And my oldest wants to do plumbing. So he opted not to do GCIT. So he's just going to go to a trade school afterwards as his plan is now. But I make sure I stress to whenever I talk to people, I'm not pushing them in that direction. Because my dad didn't push me into a restaurant. And I think that could have been detrimental if he did. My heart wasn't in it. So we'll see.
Yeah. Now with the evolution of the business, obviously you started just in HVAC. You guys recently, it's literally just been the past few months, right? You launched the plumbing division. Has it been a full year yet?
It's about a year and a half for plumbing.
Yeah,
about a year and a half. So we started with HVAC residential work, branched out in the commercial, which is it's a big part of our business now. We added plumbing, and then just in the natural growth of things, there's some property management and stuff like that mixed in there with some properties and stuff, but for the most part that's what we do. And we have a few tricks up our sleeve for this year.
I love that.
A little more expansion. I can't leave well enough alone.
Now, how are you identifying? Are these just things you're like, man, we're getting a lot of referrals for XYZ, we could probably do this ourselves? Are you looking to buy businesses that are becoming under the umbrella?
So a couple things. One, I was always the mindset of you can go rent something. You need a tool, you can go to United Rentals and rent something. If I have to rent it twice, I should buy it.
Yeah.
And that's how I am in our business. If I am doing something and I'm constantly hiring somebody to do work for me, why are we not doing that? There's obviously enough there that we should be doing it in-house.
Yeah, there's a need.
Yeah. And I think ultimately for the customer, it's much better. They get turnkey. They deal with, one contractor, one person, one bill, one warranty. And I think it works a lot better for the customer as well. So we'll see how that pans out.
I see a lot of stuff that you guys do on social. It looks like you've built, great culture within your business. So like what is culture to you? What is being a leader in your mindset for today's, small business owner? What does that entail?
So it's crazy. The first time I heard culture was about 10 years ago. And I really didn't know what it was. Like I never really knew. Learned a lot about culture, some seminars. And to me, my culture is that we're like a family, right? So we're like a brotherhood internally. We're family first in my business, which I think is very important. And have fun. Everybody has to work. Why not go somewhere that you enjoy doing it? Because let's be honest, 50% of the days, especially in our business, stink.
Yeah.
So you should be somewhere that at least you enjoy going to. And I built that culture, and I put a lot of things in place. And when anybody comes into our building, they always say, man, I can just feel the culture in here. And that's proven because I'm pretty proud, even though our business isn't that old and I haven't, I've only been on my own, I guess, technically for 13 years. I didn't really start hiring good employees till about 4 years in. So it was about 9 years ago. Cause I would only hire what I could afford in the beginning.
Yep.
And I have employees that are coming on 7 years, 6 years, 5 years, 4 years. So a lot of them employees are still with me.
Staying with you.
Which means a lot. I mean, it means a lot for me. It tells me that I'm hiring the right people. I'm giving them the right place to grow. They feel comfortable with us and their family. And that's important. And that means a lot when you're trying to grow and even hire other people for your team.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. I mean, the only way. Okay.
Yeah, I was just going to say, how many employees you're up to now?
I think we're at 44.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this time of year we expand a lot. I know we went on a little hiring spree in the last couple of weeks. So
a lot of ACs down.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah. Well, you know what happens? The more people you put in the field, the more people you need in the office too. So
right.
We just hired internal accounting. Actually, he starts on Monday, which is pretty exciting. We need another girl in the office for phones. One of our key employees, she was with us for 4 years. She just moved to Florida, and we offered her remote. So she's back up and running this week, remote from Florida, doing her job. So, I mean, that's even huge. I mean, that tells you a little bit about our culture, right? She was willing to move from here to Florida and say,
still work with you.
Absolutely. I could do remote. I want to stay.
Yeah.
So, that's really important too.
You guys have a sales staff?
So we do. So our company's split between residential and commercial.
Yep.
So our commercial estimators bid commercial work, and then our residential sales guys, or we like to call them, comfort consultants, right? Because they're not really selling you. They're going out and telling you what you need to make the decision. Sure. And we have 3 of them. So we have 2 and a manager. So
yeah,
3.
That's awesome. Because I know when I'm dealing with a lot, like the insurance with GCs and stuff like that, it seems like you really have a business sense. Whereas you can tell a lot of times talking to those types of people,
not their aptitude.
That's not their thing. Yeah. And you have like, all right, I got a sales. It sounds like you got the finance side with the accountants. Like you're actually running a business, you're not just doing the work and subbing some stuff out. And
yeah, no, we do the work. I don't strap the tool belt on anymore. Very, very rarely. Actually, the guys laugh at me.
Hey, owner, not an operator. You got to respect.
That's how you got to be.
Yeah. Well, that was a key. You say that. That was a key when I finally was able to put a manager in play and step back and let him manage.
Yeah,
that was a big.
It's hard to do.
It's very hard to do, and you have to be okay. We had some mistakes and we lost some customers and, a couple employees, but I had to, as he always would say, stay the course.
Yeah.
And, push through it. And he runs my company today. He's my general manager. So, that all worked out really well.
So two-fold questions. So one with hiring, what are you kind of seeing in the market? I know a lot of industries, like the skill levels are down or there's just not a lot of people that are interested. Seems like trade schools are picking up more. So first that one, and then second, people are always complaining when you guys come out, there's that fee, right? And I feel like it's only, in my mind, going to increase because there's less people doing it, less people who know how to do it. So not saying that like price increases are coming, but what do you see in the next like 3 years for the industry?
So I'm seeing some better kids.
Okay.
We just hired 2 seniors out of GCIT, and unbelievable. 4 years ago, I don't think we were seeing kids like that. Which is good. I think that more people, it's very hard when there's a young man or young woman that doesn't know what they want to do and they're, 18 years old and they're told to go learn a trade.
Yeah, right.
You don't just go learn how to be a football star. You don't just go learn how to be an artist, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like what we do is not not difficult. So we get a lot of them generational people coming out of the trade schools, where they come out of school, they have the 18 months that they learned in school, and they don't even know what all the tools are called, and they come and they're like, oh, they told us we can make $100,000 a year. Not here, you can't. Not with that experience. So we'll see how that pans out. It's been doing better. We've been the last maybe 8 months been able to really hire some really good people. I think we're I call it my own little terminology. I call it the market correction, right? So we had all of this great expansion. Oh, man, I shouldn't say it like that. In my business, we expanded a lot through COVID. Because that's what we did, right? Air quality. We were in every building, in every home, and people were home more, so they needed their HVAC to be good. We went through a real big shortage, and now everybody's kind of coming back to like real numbers and real work. So there's some people out there that are available, and if you got the right place and the right culture, they want to come. So it's been working out well.
It's the only way to grow, man. Good people, and exactly what you said earlier. I think too often the entrepreneur, it's, the ego always gets in the way, right? And like, we're the best at everything. We started the business. I've worn all these hats. But you realize very quickly as you put your trust in people and you help build them up, that you're actually really terrible at the vast majority of the things in your business. You do one or two things really well.
I tell people all the time, if you need something, don't call me.
That's it.
Every aspect of it will get messed up. And one of the things that me and my general manager, we always say is, you have to be realistic with people, right? People have grown-up responsibilities, they have grown-up problems and things like that. And if you don't work with everybody and have that culture, you'd have a parking lot full of empty trucks. We may be able to do all the jobs, but we can't do all the jobs. And that's a big thing. And you have to understand that when you're dealing with people. So that's kind of how we look at it.
Yeah. That's why I love the word cooperation. There's plenty of opportunity out there for all of us. There's no reason. We're always in the room. There's other payroll guys in the room. I want to see everybody eat. It's like, unless somebody hates them for some reason, something catastrophic happens. Like, I don't want to steal somebody from another small guy.
I work with a lot of other HVAC companies. Hey, are you busy? Yeah, I'm busy. Hey, this guy, I can't help him. Do you want this job? I mean, there's another big company in our area, huge company. I don't want to say the name. Everybody would know. Huge companies coming by my office later today to borrow something that we have that he doesn't have. Like, why would you not do that together?
There's enough work out there.
There's plenty of work out there. There's absolutely plenty of work out there. And at the end of the day, the customer makes the decision anyway.
Right.
So
and it does feel good. I think there's just something we must have duties as entrepreneurs. Like, we've all been through these different levels. So when you can help the guy that's in chapter 2, and you clearly know the answer to it, it is nice to say, hey, brother, this is all you need. Little redirection here. You need to hire this thing. You have to make this a priority instead.
It does feel good. I had a young guy stop in the office, and I had these big water jugs, and he said, hey, where'd you get them water jugs from? I told him where I got them. He's like, how much were they? I told him. He's like, I just started a power washing business, and I really need one. This kid was probably 18 years old. He had a truck and a trailer. I said, you need a water jug? I said, I'll go out there and take one. He goes, are you kidding me? I said, go have that water jug.
Yeah.
And I mean, I never seen him again, but I assume he used it and he did well. But I mean, what's the difference, man?
Gotta give it back.
If that gave him a little bit of a start to make a couple bucks through a summer, if he was willing to hustle for it, then so be it.
And it might be one of those beautiful surprises down the road. You get somebody reaches out to you and tells you how their life got so much better from that one kind gesture you randomly did one day that you probably haven't put much thought into.
Yeah, you never know.
That's I think we're just about to that time, just in case Ann has a good story. So Tyler always asks our guests a final question before we wrap up.
Yeah. So give us, Anthony, a time in your life or in work or in school where you might have misstepped or ran into a problem, but you really learned from it and something that like you never kind of forgot.
Man, something that I've done that I've learned from that was a misstep. Could have had some heads up on that one. So
this part always take your time. This part always gets a little.
So I think, I don't want to say early on in business, but I think early on in my life when I was in the industry was trying to do things to impress people that probably weren't the best for me.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, you want that brand new car. Anybody can go sign their name and get a $2,000 car payment because the other guy has one. but is that right for you in your time?
Right.
And then if you look back on some of them scenarios, you find out that guy or that person was doing really well and they paid cash for that car.
Yeah,
Right. So like you brought up chapter, right? And you always say that, right? Don't compare your chapter 2 to somebody's chapter 10.
Yep.
And I think once I learned that, you know, the old saying, right? It's just you versus you.
Yep.
I think that was very important because I definitely could have made some pretty bad decisions if I would have fell down that same path of, you know, trying to keep up with the Joneses, as they say. And that could have definitely went wrong. So.
Yeah, it is amazing how often you do see that happen, though. It's
yeah.
And I think it's inevitably it happens to everybody, right? Like you hit this point where you first start like making some real money and you want some nice things and you realize, man, I'm just buying all these for the wrong reasons. I don't even really like. It's just a thing at the end of the day. It's just another car, another.
You know, back to the boats.
Yeah,
everybody tells me all the time, why don't you have a bigger boat? I'm like, this.
I like this boat.
I'm comfortable with this boat, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, PNC Bank owns your boat.
Right.
Yeah. Good point.
100%. And it is. And then I feel like the more money you make, the less you care. It's like, it's really not about the things anymore. Yeah. Like I'm so big on experiences. Ty and he busts my balls about my car all the time. Like, we have the nice family vehicle.
Dude.
Well, the family vehicle, but my car, like I have the little Lincoln, no big deal. And I overspend on travel. Like I love to just go around the world with my family and show the kids just all the different things. Because like what we think poverty here is a joke compared to other countries, and what we think good food is here is a joke compared to some other countries. And it's great to experience different cultures, have a bigger perspective on the world. Yeah, so you can think outside the box sometimes. And really, honestly, it's really more about gratitude. You're really grateful for the things you have when you see what other people struggle with at times.
I could agree
tough
with that
to see,
for sure.
but it's necessary. We live in a bubble at times, and social media gives us this delusional version of society. And it's nice to be in a place where you authentically know what fills your cup and takes care of the people you care the most.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
it's great. I'm not there yet. We travel a little bit. We don't do around the world and all like that.
That's how you travel the boat, or as far as that bad boy will go, though, right?
Yeah, I will, man. I'll run that thing. Holds 400 gallons of fuel. I can go pretty far.
I love that, man. But it's time spent, man. Always, right? It's not like always buying your kids the things so they have. I had that argument the other day about those stupid Stanley cups. My kids were like, "Why won't you buy them for them?" Because the $5 ones at Five Below are just as good. Like they leak just like the Stanley cup, bro. It's such a stupid. I just refuse. It's like a societal thing. And I'm like, you don't
Come on, man.
You don't need a $55 plastic mug to carry around.
Listen, I
no
agree
offense
with
if
you.
your kids have them.
They don't. And I agree with you. And I make my kids work, right? They have chores around the house and they get an allowance every week, and they save their money. And if they want to, they're in the sneakers. If they want to buy crazy sneakers, that's on them. They save it and they get it. Now, I won't buy that kind of money on shoes. So they can go do it if they want.
Absolutely.
So we'll see.
Well, Anthony, we really enjoy you being here today. This was we're grateful for your time and just for sharing with the crowd. So, friends, hopefully you don't have your HVAC break or backups in plumbing, but if you do, check out AM Botte Mechanical. Check them out online. AM Botte. Is that just BOTTE?
Yeah, it's AMBOTTE, and there's even some big things happening this year with that. So,
so stay tuned. This man, as you said, when he sees opportunities, he's going to seize them. Is it a boat? Is it a business? Is it another kid?
I can tell you this:
nobody, not the kid. It's not the kid.
Nobody I talk to tells me it's a good idea, so I know I'm on to something.
That's right.
Man.
I love that. Well, hopefully we'll have a follow up when we're dropping some of this content. But friends, as always, thanks for tuning in. We missed you. We're glad to be back. And as always, have the best day ever.
Best day ever,
Thanks, guys.
fam.
See y'all next time.
Take care.